All right, my friend, I said yesterday that the kingdom of God is at hand. And God has sent me to clarify the teaching of Jesus. Once we get the teaching of Jesus clarified, and placed in a scientific context, then the whole world will be able to see clearly that the kingdom is at hand. And we will know what we need to do to initiate steps in bringing about the kingdom onto the planet Earth. But see, there's a system going on in the world today. I don't know all about it. But God, as He sees fit, will give me understanding about this system, because He has nothing that He wants me to do in that area. He wants me to bring His word. But He will give me some awareness what the system is all about. You see, and Jesus explained that when a man and a woman marry, they're supposed to become of one body, one flesh. So you see, I explained in my book that the planet Earth is just a body. It's a social body, a planetary social body. All these nations get together and make up a body. Just like all the cells get together and make up a physical person, that is a human being. So now this kingdom of heaven is like a brain to this body that is merging onto the planet Earth. You see, when they get an idea of this system, as God has shown it to me, then everybody will be able to see exactly what we must do to get the kingdom of heaven, initiate steps to get the kingdom of heaven, onto the planet Earth. But first we got to recognize that there's a system that's been involved in material development. See, the kingdom is a spiritual kingdom. You're going to be dealing with ideals, dealing with the universe, and how we're going to, as a planet, perceive our role in the universe. See, we don't even know what our purpose, morally and spiritually out in this universe. You see, we go out there today, we won't even know how to address the people that we see, What would we say? What kind of relationship would we try to form with them? We couldn't use a gold like we have now for money because they don't even know anything about it. They got their own precious metals on their planet, So what would be the relationship? I'm telling you, the kingdom of God is establishing God as the head, because the idea all things made of good and made by God must serve as a foundation. You see, that's what we are telling. All things are made of God. And if they are an intelligent planet, they will have already recognized that they got to come to that same conclusion. They got to come to a conclusion that this system, this world, this universe, which is very orderly. We can see that it's under a supreme power that can be identified as a supreme being, or it's not. They've got to come to that decision too, you see. So here is our connection, you see. We have a connection there, you see, and we can start developing from there, So, but we got to recognize that, so that's going to be the kingdom of heaven, and the idea of God, that's all it's doing. That idea of all things made of good and are made of God, it's just announcing God, omnipotent, all-encompassing, present. That's all it's doing, It's the Spirit. And so you get that established, see, that's going to be ahead for the kingdom of heaven. But see, right now, God has placed the development of the planet under the spirit of the dragon, which is the idea some things are not made by God, or some things God made are evil. So see, those are the only two ideas that can spearhead any way of living by mankind. Anyway, there's only two. People need to stop and think about that. Then they'll recognize that we've been under the spirit of the dragon. God placed us under that. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But God making all things, of course, He knew that was going to happen. See, that's another story altogether. God got a system out here. We're not if He's making all things, we can't say anything bad about any thing out here. We've got to recognize it for what it is. So we've been under the idea something made of evil or not made by God. That has given rise to the autonomous self. If God now making all things, then hey, I'm autonomous. I can make myself. I'm doing something, You see, the autonomous self is in opposition to the idea all things are made by God. You see, is in opposition to that. But that has been fueling a materialistic paradigm for material growth of the planet. You see? See, I explained that under that idea, all the way up through development, but we can see how it works today, you know, like with the autonomous self, coming from that idea that some things are not made by God, I'm autonomous, you know. Everything is working. It pre-made the social development and everything. So, you know, as I explained, if one industry, if a business in the industry develop a better product, then it's going to get all the recognition of that autonomous self. You see, I'm something, you know. I'm doing this, I'm something, autonomous self. And all the people associated with it going to get all the money, you know. They're going their way for that product, you see. Then another business in that industry going to develop a better product, a better form of that product, you know. In this way, all the people come to that autonomous self, you see. But as I explained, can you see? And this is going on all over the world about all things, you know. This way, materialism is growing because this better product going to make the world more perfect materialistically than the last one. And then if somebody do a better one, they're going to make it better. They're going to make it better. You see, it's something that God has got in place here for material development. The era dealing with the internet, you know, that's the last era. That's dealing with the circuitries, like like the brain of a planet, you know. Like we got those electric circuits in our body that deal with energy to go to our brain. That's what the internet is now. See, it's being developed. But that same force, you know, autonomous self is in there. So you see, Microsoft do something good, Windows do something good. You know, they're still escalating. The force is still there. But see, now the kingdom is coming. It's getting to the end. The kingdom is at hand. The end of the time of the Gentile is at its end. Babylon, which is explained in Ezekiel, said, put your neck on the yoke of the king of Babylon. That's material development. And serve it until its end come. Now its end is come, you see. And now we must change over to a spiritual paradigm, which is going to involve the kingdom of heaven. We got to recognize that system being operated. We got to recognize that this spirit of the idea of something made of evil or not made by God, which came from Adam and Eve, has been driving this system. And we got to recognize that there are only two forces, ideals, that have the psychological clout to spearhead a moral, the moral aspect of the social development by human beings. Those are only two ideals. We got to recognize that. And we got to recognize that in order to bring the kingdom of heaven in, which is based on the idea of all things made of good and made by God, we have got to change over from that idea of something made of evil and not made by God. We'll talk a little bit more on the kingdom on the next time around.